Hello everyone, welcome back to the next video. In this video, I will show you how to display interstitial ad from Google Ad Mob in Godot Game Engine for iOS. So we will be creating an iOS plugin for this. So yeah, let's get started. We will be making use of Swift Godot library. As usual, if you want, you can refer to this documentation. I won't go through this documentation of Google Ad Mob. I will just tell you what all steps you need to integrate. But you can go through this documentation in your own free time. As usual, like you require macOS and you should have Xcode installed as well from Apple App Store. So I already have it. Also, I have created an empty folder called Godot. You can name it whatever folder name you want. The reason is because there will be multiple projects in this particular folder. That's why I have created one parent folder. But if you don't want to create it, it's your choice. So just go to Open Xcode, go at the top, File, New, Package, and here select multi-platform, select library, click next, and here just go to your Godot folder, and here I have named it as, so this is the empty Godot folder which I have created, right? And here I will name it as my library. You can name it whatever name you feel like, but do remember this name because we will be using this name in lot other places as well. Then just click on create. It will create the package for us. Now we have to follow this particular documentation to integrate Swift Godot inside our application. So I'll just open it over here. So we have already done few steps. So we have done this step, we have done this step as well. So here we just have to copy this dependency section from this, and we just have to go over here and paste it over here. Now do Command S. It will automatically download this particular library from Swift with the help of Swift Package Manager inside our application. So here you can see it is automatically downloading it for me. I'll just remove this unnecessary space. Okay, then if I just scroll down here, you can see they have given us platform macOS version 13, but we want iOS. So I've just created one cheat sheet. I will be following this cheat sheet, but you can copy it from the main documentation as well if you want. So again, I have set the minimum deployment to version 17. I have tried with version 15, but this Swift Godot was giving me a lot of errors. That's why I upgraded to version 17. Then we also need to add this type dynamic. So if you see here, they have added this type dynamic to library name. So I will just add it over here. Then we also need to add this dependencies. So I'll just copy this. I will just scroll down, and here you can see they have added this dependency after target name. So after target name, I will just add one comma and I'll paste this. Then I will just improve the indentation a little by doing Control I. You don't have to do it. Then once this is done, the next step is, at least at the time of me recording this video, Swift Godot does not support Swift version 6. That's why I have to downgrade this to 5.10. But do check the Swift Godot repository. If it supports Swift 6 or above, you don't have to make this change. Okay, once that is done, okay, so this is done as well. Yeah, next we have to add this particular Google Ad Mob dependency. So here you can see we are not using CocoaPods, we are using Swift Package Manager. So firstly, what you can do is just add a comma after this, copy this entire thing, paste over here, remove the end comma of the second line. Okay, then remove this particular part, and here we will just paste this particular URL over here. Okay, something like this. Again, do Command S. It will automatically download the Google Ad Mob dependency over here. As you can see, it has downloaded or downloading still. But yeah, that's what this is. Now what I will do is, I have already created one practice project. From that I will just copy one line because I don't remember it. So here we have to also add this product, this particular thing. So I'll just copy this, go over here and just paste it over here. So here is our Google mobile ads, and this is the package name, and this is how we are referencing it. So this particular part, so this is how what's the standard is. So that's what I'm following over here. Again, just do a Command S just for the safety sake. Then go to your library, go to my library, and if you want, you can go to the documentation over here, interstitial. I won't go through this documentation, you can go it on your spare time. Then I will just copy the code. Again, I will just go to my practice project. I will just open my library. Okay, I'll copy everything. and I'll paste it over here. So we need to write the code inside my library. Okay, so firstly we are importing UI kit, Swift Godot, as well as Google mobile ads. Then this is the boilerplate code which you have to write for integrating Swift Godot inside our library or Swift code. So this is just our library name. You will have to change it to your own library name. Next, here we have to create a delegate class. So we can't directly extend delegate for my library, that's why I have to create a separate class. Here I have created three callbacks: on present error, on will present, and on dismiss, and all these three methods are overridden from this GAD full screen content delegate. So these are not methods defined by me, these are already present in the documentation. So I'm just calling the appropriate callbacks on whichever method has been called over here. Okay, then here is our library, my library. So it is annotated with @Godot, so we can call this from GD script side, and here we are just doing ref counted. So here is our signal. So I'm using this signal to send all kinds of data, but you can create different signals for different things as well. Then here is our GAD interstitial add, and this is the class which we have created. This my particular method is annotated with @callable because this will be called from GD script, and we are calling this inside the onReady function. So here we just do add delegate, then here we do on present error, on will present, and on dismiss. So here we just emit the appropriate signals depending on whichever callback was called. Okay, then here we just do initialize our Google mobile ads. Then here I have created one task. So this is something related to async await in Swift, and here we just initialize our interstitial add. Now this is a test ID. Later on in the video I will show you how to generate production ID as well, but it is highly recommended you use test ID for development purpose. Also, if you are seeing a lot of errors from Xcode, it's fine. Xcode does not play nicely with Swift Godot. Then here we just emit a signal once the ad has been loaded, then only we can call this display ad method which I have created. Then here we also assign the add delegate as well, and here I'm just doing fail to load interstitial add with error. I'm not sure if this will get called or not. I'm not sure. Maybe what I'll do is maybe I'll try to wrap it inside a main thread. Let's see, because when I was practicing I remember this was not getting called. Let's see if this will give an error or not. Maybe this code might give us an error, but we'll see. Okay, so something like this, and in case of failure I'm just emitting a signal something like this. Okay, now I have created another method which this display ad will get called on a button click. Here firstly we have to get hold of our root view controller. Then here we just initialize our check whether interstitial as has been appropriately initialized or not. If not, then emit an error, otherwise just present that interstitial ad. So hopefully you got the point till here. Then all we have to do is just open our terminal. Okay, sorry, before that, in the meantime I will just navigate to our library. Okay, just cd to your library inside terminal. I'll clear everything out. Okay, so here we are inside our library. Now I will also close this. I'll close this. I will close my cheat sheet as well, and here I will just open this entire Godot folder inside VS Code. The reason is because we need to create an shell file, and I always mess up creating the shell file from Xcode. That's why I'm creating it from VS Code. If you want, you can create it from Xcode as well. So just open our library, and here we'll have to create a file called build.sh. Okay, then for that we just have to go to this particular URL and copy the code. So I'll just come over here, paste this, and here you can see you can just copy the entire code and come to our build.sh and paste it over here. Now again, shout out to this guy for helping me a lot, Stefan. And here we just have to name this to our own library name. So my library name was just my library, and we also need to add one more thing, this particular thing, dash skip macro validations slash. So I'll come over here and I'll add it over here as well. This is I have added because I was getting some error during compile time, that's why I have added this. Okay, so this is done. Next we have to run this particular command inside our terminal. Make sure you are inside your library, and then we have to run this particular command. Now I'm not planning to deploy it to Apple App Store, so that's why I'm only generating the debug framework, but if you are planning to deploy it to Apple App Store, you need to generate the release framework as well. Just replace the debug word by release. Now let this do this thing. This will take a little bit of time. In the meantime, we can just go open Godot Game Engine. At the time of me recording, I'm using Godot 4.3.0, but I don't think there will be any major breaking changes as such in higher version of Godot. So I think you can use higher versions of Godot as well. Just click on create, navigate to our Godot folder, and you can name it whatever you feel like. I'll just name it as my Godot project. I'll click on create and edit. Okay, and here firstly we'll have to go to project, export, add, iOS. Here click on fix import. You have to enter your App Store team ID. I will enter mine later on, but make sure you enter your App Store team ID now over here. So to get your App Store team ID, you can just go to this particular URL and it will guide you how to get your App Store team ID. And here we just have to give some bundle identifier. I'll just give it as com.nobody.myapp. You can give it whatever name you feel like. Typically it is com.your-company-name.your-app name. Okay, I'll close this. I'll create a 2D scene. I'll click on save this scene. I will run this as well so that my current scene is selected. Okay, so this is done. Okay, I'll close this. Then I'll just create one button as well, and here I will create one. So I'll just expand that button. Select our button. I'll just expand. Yeah, so here is my button. Sorry, and here I will take one more label as well. I will put it over here. Now I will select both of these. I'll change the font size. Theme override, font size 40. Add a button, add some text to your button. I don't know, open ad, I guess, whatever you feel like. Then just attach one script over here. Okay, and here go to our button. Here is our node. I will attach this press signal, and we also need to get hold of our label, so I will just drag and drop it. Okay, so this is done. Next, okay, so I will again go back to my practice project. I will just copy some code. So here is my GD script. So firstly we'll have to create this particular variable to get hold of our reference of our library. So here is my library variable which I have created. Then here inside the ready, we just initialize our library as well. So inside ready, you just have to copy paste this code. Okay, so here I will just show it to you. So this is our library name, as well as over here change it to your own library name. Here we just call initialize rewarded ads once our library is instantiated, and here we connect our signal as well. Now whenever our signal has been sending some data, we need to create this particular method. So for that I will just create this method, and whenever this method is called, we are just updating the text of our label. Okay, and on button press we just need to call display ad method. Copy this and I'll paste it over here. Okay, this is still building. Okay, so this has finished, so there was no error in our Swift code, thank God. Then what I'll do is, again I'll go back to VS Code. I will open my Godot project. Here I will create a folder called bin, and inside that we have to create a file name, whatever is your library name .gd extension. So go to bin, create a file called mylibrary.gd extension. Now this particular file is cannot open it via Godot Game Engine. I don't know why. So I'm opening it via VS Code, and I will have to just copy paste this particular code. I'll just copy this, paste it over here. Now again, if you have generated release framework, you will have to replace debug on both places with release. Then we have to go to our Godot folder again, go to library, go to bin, go to iOS. Here you will see two framework files, folders I mean. Just copy these two folders, go to your Godot project, go to bin and paste it over here. Okay, Okay, so the next thing is we just have to go to our Godot folder, create an iOS folder over here. You can name it whatever you feel like. The reason I have named it as iOS folder because we are exporting an iOS project from Godot Game Engine. So just go to project, export, click on export project, go to your iOS folder and click on save. Now this will take little bit of time, so just be patient. In the meantime, I want to show you one more thing. You will again have to go back to the this particular documentation of quick start, and once our project is ready we will also need to add this particular thing. Now this particular thing which you see, the CA app pub 3940, again this is a test ID which can be used for development purposes from Google AdMob. You will have to replace this again with your production ID later on, but for testing you should use this test ID. Okay, so let's just wait for our project to export from Godot Game Engine. Okay, so as you can see my project was exported. I'll just close this. I'll go back to my iOS folder over here. This is my iOS folder, and you will just have to double click on this .xcode proj file. It will automatically open it inside Xcode for you. Then like I mentioned, just go to supporting files, go to info.plish, right click on it, open as source code. Now here if you see, I will just remove this unnecessary space and make the alignment a little bit proper, otherwise this bothers me a lot. Now we have to copy the code which I have shown you, right? So here you can go and copy this particular part first, so this is necessary, and paste over here. Now again remove this unnecessary space, otherwise you might get an error. And here we have, from this particular array we have to, you can add whatever items you feel like. I will just add the first item because this is from Google. These are from other companies. If you want to know from which companies, you can click on this select third party buyers and go through this particular documentation, but I won't waste your time. I will just copy this key as till here, till dict, and we have to close the array manually. Okay, sorry, something like this. I'll just copy this and I'll paste it over here. I will close the array as well. Okay, so this is done. Now I can run my application. Make sure you run this application on a real device. It will not work on the simulator. Let me mirror my device. So here is my device. Now for the very first time, this does take a little bit of time because I think this is a debug framework or debug IPA, not a release IPA. So here you can see, you will see this error for the very first time. Just click on continue. Let's just wait for this to finish. I think there will be one more error. Yeah, so just click on OK and rerun your application. This happens to me every single time. I don't know why. So sorry, just move this. Okay, yeah, so finally it is here. Now like I mentioned, okay, so I got the ad loaded signal, so I'm displaying it inside our label. Now I can click on this open ad button. So if I click on open ad, here you can see this is my interstitial test ad, and if I close it, I'm getting that signal as well, ad did dismiss. Okay, so this is the signal content which I was sending from our library. So yeah, that's it. Now coming back to how to generate production ads, you can just go to your Google AdMob account, just go to apps, create an app, name it whatever you feel like. I'll just select iOS. I have not deployed it to Apple App Store. I'll click on continue. My Godot iOS 3. Click on add app, click on done, click on add ad unit, select interstitial, name it whatever you feel like, and if you want to do advanced settings you can do that as well. I'll just click on create ad unit. Now here you will have to replace one of this inside your library and the other one inside your info.plist file. Do remember that the code which you have added inside your info.plist file will get overridden every time, or it will get lost every time you export your project from Godot Game Engine. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.